Hey guys, so we're going to be talking about setting rates and then answering some questions about raising your rates as well. So, of course, we all know if we are paneled with insurance companies, we do not have autonomy over what they're paying us and what they're not paying us. So, this is talking about setting fees for your private pay clients and what your full rate is, and then we'll review some sliding scale things, and then how we should navigate raising our rates, through the longevity of our practice. And so, first things first, setting rates. Everyone needs to set their rates, whether you're a private pay therapist or a combination or an insurance based therapist, because there's going to be people that come to you who don't have insurance, don't want to use their insurance even if they have it, and just prefer to pay out of pocket for services. A lot of people I know when they're first starting out and setting their fees, they just kind of go on Psychology Today and look at what other people are charging and then maybe charge that a little bit less or a little bit more and kind of base it off as, maybe not having a lot of additional certifications outside of your master's degree or just being new to practice or whatever it may be. So I'm going to charge less, or I've been in the field for 35 years, so I'm going to charge more. And that's fine if that works for you, but for most people, they find out that that doesn't work for them because they're basing their rates off of like something that doesn't really work for their lifestyle. So a good way to find a good rate for your private practice is to kind of work backwards. So most of us know, and if you don't know, spend some time figuring it out, what your household needs to keep running and what your lifestyle is and how you need to maintain that. And so whether that be on your income solely and or you and a partner's or whatever that looks like for your household. And so kind of working back from there and trying to figure out how much money you need to cover your expenses. And so if private practice is your only gig, that is going to, of course, boil down to what your rate is and how many clients you're seeing per week to make that income level that you're looking for. So I'll put in the comments this fantastic find your fee calculator, and it essentially prompts you through this whole entire thing where you put in all your expenses and then it kind of tells you what your fee is, and then you can kind of go on there trying to figure out how many clients you should see a week. But essentially, we're trying to make this a lasting career. Most of us aren't just doing this for fun. We need money to support our lifestyles. So we want to make sure that it's something that's going to have longevity as well. We're spending a lot of time and money working on our practices and the business side of things. And so we, of course, want it to be successful and for us to make an income off of it. I know sliding scale wise, a lot of people offer a sliding scale, and that's fantastic if you do and fantastic if you don't. Remembering to factor that into your overall overhead. So if you have an all sliding scale practice, you see some people at a $150 rate and some people at a $20 rate. You want to be taking an average of your clients on a very frequent basis to see what your average caseload client is. And so if for the month of March you only have one full fee client and the rest are at 20, that's going to obviously bring down your average, where in previous months if you had 10 full fee clients and 2 sliding scale, then that's of course going to bring up your average. And so we want to make sure we know our numbers of our practice, so then if we do have a cap on sliding scale spots that we're offering, we know when we can offer that or not offer, or slide that low or slide higher. We just want to know the numbers in our business. Because a lot of times we can think, oh, my rates are $90 a session, I'm making $90 every session, but that's not always true, because if I have 5 people in my caseload that aren't paying $90 a session because I let them slide to 50 or 60 or whatever it may be, that also just brings down my whole caseload average income, or the income that I'm bringing in. So we don't want to get into a space where we think we're making $90 a client when in fact we're making significantly less because the variances in fees. And that also, of course, gets a little bit more complicated with insurances since they're each paying out a little bit different, but focusing on the private pay side of things. And then in regards to raising rates, this is something that is recommended to be done every year, if not multiple times a year. I personally do it every year. you're supposed to raise them at least $5, just to account for like inflation and things like that. But you want to be very specific with how you're doing it. You want to have it, one, in your informed consent or in your financial agreement or in both of them. You want to review this with clients, and you want to have a very formulated way of you doing it, whether it be, the month. I raise my rates every July. The month before, I will email you and let you know. We'll have a conversation about it at our next session. We'll explore what's going to work best for you, blah, blah, blah. Like just being very detailed about how that process is going to look, because everyone's got their money issues. A lot of people have money issues with raising their rates, but we do have to remember we are doing this because we care for our clients and we want the world to be a safer space, but we're also doing this because it's our jobs. So, and we need money from our jobs. I personally don't raise my rates for new clients, so I raise my rates every July for new clients that are coming in. And I simply just update it on my website. New clients that are calling in after July, I let them know my new rates. It's updated in my informed consent. And that's also explicitly written out in my informed consent as well, because if people are seeing me in 2018, they leave services for a little bit and they come back and expect to pay the same thing, I've kind of covered my ass there in a sense of, your file was closed, you terminated services, you're coming back, now there's new, rates in place. Some people raise the rates across the board for people, or like everyone on their caseload. And so what that would look like is, again, just having that very frank conversation with people when they're coming into services. So if you do have more long-term clients on your caseload, they understand that every year rates are going to go up a percentage, or, $5, $10, $20, whatever you pick and choose. The kind of other space, consistency is really good, just so people know it's coming. Give people, a good amount of notice, because if you do choose to raise them kind of more than that $5, $10 amount every year, that is going to pigeonhole certain people on your caseload who maybe can't that can't afford that. And so you want to be able to have those conversations with them so you can find them another provider, and or you can look at sliding scale options or working with them at where they're at. Trying to think of other ways in which people do it. I know Allison Perrier with Abundance Practice Builders has a really good podcast on raising rates, so I'll try to find that and link it in the comments as well. But yeah, I think most of the things with individuals is like working through your own stuff on that, because I think in private practice we already charge a little bit more than what we were making at agencies. And so that hourly rate or that button chair rate seems kind of a sticker shock to a lot of people of $50 or more per session. But we do have to remember that this is our livelihood. This is a business. We do have a lot of other overhead and expenses that go into that rate, and that's not specifically what we're taking home from that rate. So if I'm getting $90 a session throughout the month from all my clients, I'm also paying for rent, paying for my EHR, paying for licensing fees, paying for all these things every month. And so my take home is not $90. And then I'm putting away for taxes and all those things. So we want to make sure that's all accounted in there for the prices, because when we first get into private practice, we can think like, oh my God, I'm making $50+ an hour. Where at my agency, I was making $20 an hour. I'm going to be rolling in it. But we forget about a lot of that logistics and self-employment taxes and all those things behind there that we do have to save for and we do have to pay. But anyways, don't want to get too much on a rant. Let me know if you have questions. I'll put things in the comments for you guys to look up and stuff too. But yeah, hope you guys are all doing okay.